Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whichever it is, wherever you're watching from. My name's Sam. I'm also known as author Samuel J. White on the front of my books, and I'm known as Sam J. White on Facebook. And what I do on this channel is I review and interview indie authors or authors from smaller presses to help them get some publicity, basically. I haven't done any in a while. But I've been asked by Jacob Floyd, who is the owner of Nightmare Press in America, to interview some of his horror authors. And of course, I'm going to give that a go and see where we can get with trying to push some of their books and promoting them and hopefully spread some awareness of this channel as well. If you want these authors to succeed, the best way to get this channel viewed is to like it and to subscribe. And then we spread the love for all of these authors who have little appreciation for them. My first one today, we're doing this on Zoom calls now instead of doing what I did before where I sent them out questionnaires and they sent me videos back. This is my first ever Zoom call, so I was a bit nervous. It's my first Zoom call in this capacity. And this is with an author called Joseph Rubas. Now give him a listen, he's a very interesting guy. So I've got the list of questions on my phone here. I can't remember them all off by heart. But the first one is quite a simple one. What's your name?
Joseph Rubas.
Okay. Nice to meet you again, Joseph. And where are you from?
I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia. That's where I was born. I've kind of lived all over the United States. I've lived in
Yeah.
Florida. I've lived in New York right now.
I've been to New York. I think I might have been through Charlottesville as well, but it was a long time ago. I went traveling over there. Okay, the next question. I'm not going to ask that because that was a joke question. Um, Tell us briefly about where you are, the room that you're in.
When I think about
Is
the room I'm in,
Yeah, is it like your office or anything like that? Or
now it's my apartment. One
okay,
bedroom apartment in the city. My
that's
kitchen
cool.
is my living room, and my living room is my kitchen.
Yeah, I used to live somewhere like that in where I'm from in Norwich. Um, what made you want to write books?
When I was 12, I think, I read The Stand by Stephen King. And I had originally seen the movie. I knew who Stephen King was as I was growing up because my mother and grandmother and aunts read all of his books. But I watched The Stand when I was 12. It was a post-apocalyptic, epic miniseries, and I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. So I went out and I read the book, and that was the first book I'd ever read. And I
Wow.
kind of fell in love with the written word from there.
Yeah, that's one I've not read, but I have read some of Stephen King's books. He was good inspiration for me as well. Um, yeah, one of my favourites was Insomnia, which
I like that one.
yeah.
That was good.
Um, okay. How long have you been writing?
At this point, I think it's 17 years. So
That's
I
a long
started
time.
about 2002, 2003.
Yeah, it was about the same time I started, but I didn't start properly until a couple of years ago, really. Yeah, so you've been doing it a long time, which is good. You've got a lot of experience.
A little bit more. I mean, I really got serious about it around 2007, 2008, and I
Yeah,
sold my first couple short stories in 2010.
cool. So, I'll be guessing that you write in the horror genre because you work with Jacob and he works with horror writers.
I mainly work in the horror genre. I do other things too. I like thrillers. I've done a couple romances. I've done pretty much everything. I've been doing a lot of comedy lately, infusing different genres with comedy. And
That's
that's
cool.
that's different for me, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I do similar. I do sort of multi-genre stuff, but I'm writing horror at the moment, but I've done romance and stuff like that in the past. So yeah, um, okay. Your favorite author and why? I would imagine that that's Stephen King because of what you've just said, or do you have a different favorite author?
I would probably have to say Stephen King just because of his influence. I really haven't read a lot of his stuff lately. I really like, in addition to him, I like Dean Koontz, John Saul, Richard Lehman. Um, and you can go ahead and throw Bradbury in there, Matheson. I've read a lot of short stories. So a
Yeah.
lot of those, 60s, 70s, 50s horror writers from that period were also a huge inspiration for me.
Okay. Just having to find the questions on here. So, which book are you best known for?
I'm not really known for anything yet.
Okay. Yeah, the same here. But like, which is the bestseller out of the ones that you've done so far?
Mm, Probably there was a series of anthologies by Spectral Press, who's based in the UK.
Okay.
And I edited the third one, the Spectral Book of Horror Stories, Volume 3. That got a
Okay.
mention in the Best Horror of the Year. It sold fairly well. That's probably what I would be most known for.
Okay. What's your favorite work that you've ever written?
Hmm. I haven't published it yet. I posted it online for free. Um, it's a thriller about a woman who leaves her abusive husband, and he sort of he's a police detective, and he uses everything he has to try to track her down while she's trying to start this new life. And it's not horror, but it was sort of new for me to
Yeah.
write without a supernatural element, and I think I did well with it. I'm proud of it. I don't know what anyone else thinks of it.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel with stuff at the moment. I feel like proud of it, but don't know what other people think. So I'm sort of I can understand how you feel there, really.
I don't know, just that it was a new experience for me as a writer, and I always try to push myself to try different things. I don't want to just write the same exact thing over and over and over again. I like to experiment and do different
Mm.
things.
Yeah, I get that totally. That's the kind of thing I try to do, different things, just from write something
It's
that you don't want
it's
to
good to be
be stuck in
diverse.
one genre.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel. I like to spread my cast my net far and wide, so to speak.
yeah. Like I've done so far, I've done uh, twisted paranormal romance, a ghost story, and the next one is just like a horror story split up between different characters. So yeah, but this is about you though, not me. So,
That's fine. I love listening to other writers speak.
okay. Um, trying to see where we got to in the questions. So how have you found the world of authors so far? Whether it's indie authors, just the world of writing.
How have I found them?
How have you found it? Yeah, have you found it difficult or have you found it easy?
It's difficult to break through, to really get any sort of recognition or to build a name for yourself. I've been doing this, again, just publishing for the past 10 years, and I really haven't gone anywhere. And I've seen a lot of talented writers who are far better than I am, sort of stuck in the same rut. And I just feel like the horror publishing genre, or the horror publishing industry rather, is kind of stagnating. It's stagnated over the years. Um, we really don't have, like, if you look at science fiction and fantasy, they have several well-established big magazines that everyone knows about, everyone talks about, everyone reads. We really don't have that in horror. Every once in a while, something will come along and it'll kind of take off a little bit, but then it crumbles. And at this point, I just feel like horror as a literary genre is, I don't want to say it's dead, but it's not as lively as other genres, and certainly at the top with the the big five publishers,
Yeah.
they've always looked down on horror. They'll publish a little bit of it here and there. Guys like Stephen King and Neil Gaiman, um, Clive Barker, but really they're kind of the exceptions to the rule. And
Yeah.
it's exceptionally hard, almost impossible to get to that level as a horror writer. But even getting to sort of a midpoint in your career is very hard. There are so few opportunities to really get your work in front of readers because just most of the outlets we have, magazines, publishers, a lot of them, they just don't have the financial support. They don't have the name recognition. They don't have the means to really get themselves in front of a lot of readers. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I love horror and I love writing horror, but there are times I think that it's just almost not worth it from a purely business standpoint. If you're
Yeah.
trying to make a career for yourself, if you're trying to earn a living, it's just it's very hard. But I love what I do, and I'm stubborn. I keep trying. I guess I'll keep trying
Yeah.
until the day I die.
Yeah. I'm the same really. I mean, as I say, I've done romance, which is it's not. I wouldn't really call it a romance, but other people call it a romance. And then I've done a ghost story, and then horror story is the one. Is the latest one that's come out, and the horror story, there's not really much interest in it, and the ghost story and the romance have got more interest, but the horror story have not
Yeah,
three copies.
I've written a few romances, and I have an idea for one that I think I'm going to start sometime
Yeah.
soon. I find that with horror these days, your best bet to get your name out there, you're not going to make any money from it, but to get your
Yeah.
name out there is to use like, have you ever heard of No Sleep on Reddit?
I've not heard of that. I'll
It's
look that up.
it is you're familiar with Reddit, right?
No, not really, but I will look it up. I've never really done Reddit.
It's I don't know. I'm technologically backwards. I can't really explain things too well, but it's a website and it has different, subreddits, air
Okay.
quotes, and those are basically pages where you can post different topics. And one of them is called No Sleep, and it is you post your horror stories there. They have very strict guidelines because they have this culture where they like to pretend that everything's real. So if you're posting something,
Okay.
it has to be sort of like read like a real account. But I've posted a few things there, and they've got a fair amount of reads. But two of my stories that I posted there, someone recently narrated those and posted them on YouTube, and
Cool.
one got, I believe, 40,000 views so far. It's been out a month. 40,000 views, almost 200 comments. Um, the other
That's
one
great.
The other one, I think it was much lower, like 3,000 views, 4,000 views. But that's it's good for getting your name out there. It's good for the recognition, and that's another thing that has me thinking that maybe the old way of publishing horror or of publishing anything in general is really on its way out.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say that because I'm really old fashioned, I like the idea of magazines and anthologies and things like that. But
Yeah.
I just it seems like those are on their way out, and
Yeah. It's all ebooks now.
other avenues are popping up.
Yeah.
I believe some stories from Reddit have been optioned for like Netflix series or Netflix anthology series, something along those lines.
That would be that's really good if they are. A lot of them, I imagine, probably come from there originally.
Yeah, there's Reddit, and I think that I know there are other sites out there where occasionally someone will break out of like that fan fiction site. A couple people
Yeah.
come from there. That one lady who wrote that
50 Shades.
50 Gray came from
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So it seems like that's sort of the future. And what you and I are doing
yeah.
is the past. And
Quite
we're in a
possible.
sort of weird transitional phase right now.
Yeah, and I'm having to fund all the advertising myself and stuff like that, which I'm been saving up for about 2 years to spend on adverts. So yeah, it's all very complicated. It's going
It
in
is.
different ways.
It's far more complicated than I ever thought it would be. I just imagined that as a writer, you would write, send your story somewhere, they would either accept it or reject it. That'd be pretty much it. But these days, you have to pretty much be your own marketing department. You have to be your own
Yeah,
publicist. You have to be your own pitch man. You have to do pretty much everything. And of
yeah, that
course, the publishers do things. Of course, I'm not implying that they don't. But even with them, like I said, they don't have the resources behind them.
yeah.
And I feel like you're familiar with the Horror Writers Association, right?
I've heard of it. I haven't been part of it, but
I'm not a part of it either, but it's sort of a union of horror writers, publishers, and their stated goal is to foster a love of the genre and all that. And I feel like there's more that they could be doing to help some of these markets and
yeah,
these publishers because, like I said, when you really look at our market, take out all the the publishers, all the magazines, e-zines, whatever, who can't pay, and really focus on the ones that can pay a decent rate. There really aren't that
yeah,
many. And
no,
I just feel like they could do a little bit more and they don't. So that's kind of a
yeah,
sticky point with.
yeah. That's There's a lot of points we could talk about. Um, shall we move on to the next question? Forgetting where we were at. I sort of wrote these out in a bit of a hurry a while back and forgot what most of them were. Okay. Yeah, the channel sort of kicked off about a year ago, but then I had a whole load of interviews, and then they sort of dried up a bit, and then I've sort of decided to give it another try. So I've never done it like this before. It's all been people sending their own answers in.
I
So
I did a couple interviews a few years ago, not video interviews.
yeah,
Talked to a few horror writers, actors, uh, a former member of ACDC, and I was going to do more of them, but yeah, like with yours, they kind of dried up, and I lost
yeah.
interest.
Okay, so the next one says, tell us about your current work in progress.
My current work in progress. It's another sort of comedy, some dry humor, nothing too zany or over the top. It's about aliens who come to Earth, and their primary objective is to invade and colonize Earth. Typical alien bad guy stuff.
Yeah,
And the primary means that they want to use is they want to impregnate Earth women because their seed can gestate in a week. So you have a wave of aliens mixing with humans, and it just that's their idea of overrunning the world. And of course, they run into all sorts of mishaps. And um, one part I just read, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but one part I just wrote,
yeah,
rather, one of them gets blasted in his face with pepper spray after he comes onto a woman with
yeah,
a sort of "Ooh,
yeah,
come on."
yeah. I
Just
think that's
stuff
what
like
I
that.
do.
It's nothing groundbreaking, but it amuses me. I'm probably the only one it'll amuse.
Yeah, that's definitely what I do. Spray them if they were coming on to me or for someone I knew. Okay, so Do you know of any indie authors that you would plan to read books from?
I'm really not reading anything currently. I've I've got a lot of work upcoming. I've got I take writing commissions. That's how I make some of my money.
Yeah.
But if I had the time to sit down and read, I would read a British friend of mine. His name is Paul J. Longmate, and
Okay.
he's a very excellent writer. I've always loved his work, read a ton of it, and once I finally get some time to sort of take a breather, I plan to dive into his bibliography a little bit.
Okay. I'll try to look him up as well. And okay, so is there anyone you would like to thank along for help they've given you along the way and stuff like that?
I would like to thank my friend Jason V. Brock, who runs a press. He has a magazine. It's called Nameless Digest, and
Yeah.
it's fairly well known. It's published some heavy hitters in the genre. Um, I'd like to thank him, and I'd like to thank Hal Bodner, another writer friend of mine, who has graciously agreed to read some of my work in the past. He's never
Okay.
really given it a very good review, but I really appreciate the feedback,
Yeah,
honest
feedback.
feedback. That's what we writers all sort of work on.
Yeah, feedback is a good thing. I mean, I got a bit of a shock the first time I sent my work off to somebody, and she wrote big angry writing all over it. She goes, "Don't you effing well dead write this." She put up a load of suggestions about what should happen, and what she didn't realise is that she was suggesting things that were going to happen in the next page.
Yeah, I've had that happen before.
Yeah, that was all good though. We laughed about it in the end. And next question is there anything that you would like to ask viewers so that they can write in the comments? As in, any questions that you would like to ask for people?
Any questions I would like
You would like to
to ask
ask
people?
potential readers?
Hmm. What do you want to see? That's
Yeah,
pretty much it, I
that's the
guess.
best question yet.
That's it. Tell me what you want to read, and I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. And okay, we'll come to the end of the questions. It just says, last but not least, give the viewers a wave goodbye. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
Mm, I'm not really good at talking about myself. I think that's something you have to practice a lot, and I haven't really had that much practice with it. Um, if I had to talk about anything, I guess I would just again go back to publishing, to the horror press, and I would just encourage people to support horror writers, support small presses, and sort of don't be discouraged when you come across a writer you don't know or a company you haven't heard of before, because I think a lot of people have the not really misconception, but a lot of people believe, I feel, that if a writer is unknown or if the publishing company isn't famous, big, whatever, that the work will be subpar. And that's just not true. I know many indie writers in many genres, and most of them are very, very good. And I would just tell readers to, take a chance on them.
Yeah, I would agree there. I've met some indie authors who are, I would say, more talented than some of the published authors that have been published by big companies. But so yeah, and a lot of the readers they'll go for people they know, like Stephen King and like stuff like that. But there's so many, there's
I
thousands and thousands of indie authors out there who do a great job.
Yeah, there are so many authors, and there are so many different voices and perspectives. And with sort of the traditional publishing system, you really don't see those. You really don't see a diversity of thought, of ideas. You don't see different voices. You don't see different perspectives. You've got really a small group of writers who get to the top and they stay there for decades, and
Yeah,
that is your quote unquote elite. I don't want to accuse them of being elitist, but those are the ones that everyone knows about. Those are the ones that always wind up in the same anthologies
yeah,
from the bigger presses in the same magazines. You see their names, you see their work again and again, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And I think that leads to the sort of stagnation that we're seeing now,
yeah,
where you've got people who were cutting edge 50 years ago still writing, still uh,
yeah,
still taking up spots that younger writers could really benefit from.
yeah.
And I don't want to say that older writers shouldn't publish or anything, but that
I can't hear you. Your sound's gone off.
and you leave a couple spots open for the younger writers,
Yeah,
you're really not going to get that infusion of new blood to keep the genre alive, and that's something we struggle with. It's
definitely.
a big sort of sticking point today that we don't have enough writers who are black or female or Hispanic, and
Yeah,
I've a lot of people they claim it's racial bigotry. I don't believe that. I think that the writers of color are suffering from the same thing that all of us writers are
yeah,
suffering from, which is we can't get through. We can't
yeah,
get through. And I believe that since they form a majority over or a minority overall, you're going to see fewer, black writers, Hispanic writers in general. But when you've got sort of a rigged system like we have, it really keeps them down, and it's
yeah,
not good for them. It's not good for the genre. It's not good for writers. And I just wish that publishers, the bigger publishers, would take a chance on
yeah,
younger writers. And I think the reason that they really stick with the older writers is mainly because they're proven. And these publishers, especially in today's market, they're sort of afraid of taking risks. Whereas,
yeah,
50 years ago, they might not have been. Now the market has sort of contracted. We have fewer readers. Um, these magazines are reaching fewer and fewer people, and they're afraid to lose money. It's all about money. So I
yeah.
think that
It's.
hurts.
I think it's also because people have got lazy. They watch Netflix and stuff like that rather than picking books up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely taken a bite out of our readership. We're competing with the latest Xbox game that has insane graphics and
yeah,
50 hours of play. We've got Netflix, we've got cell phones, we got Facebook, we got just 20,000 different things that we could be doing, and that's sort of subtracted from our readership. So,
yeah,
like I said, that's part of the problem. That's why part of the reason why our market is shrinking the way it is,
yeah,
and that's publishers to be a little shy when it comes to taking risks, and that's leading to stagnation. And overall, I think again we're the old ways going out the door. It might take another
yeah,
10 years, 15 years, 20 years, but I think we're definitely transitioning.
yeah. what I'm doing is, I know a lot of people are more into audiobooks so they can listen to them on the go and stuff like that rather than reading them. You know, 'cause you have to, you can't walk around with Kindle like this.
Yeah,
So you,
that's a good thing to do because
yeah,
I think these audio podcasts, narrations, whatever, I think they will attract more than just you know
yeah,
boring text on a page.
that's what I'm doing at the moment. I have my microphone sort of up here. This is what I'm using to record my audiobook.
Hmm.
But
That's definitely something you should be doing.
yeah,
And I mean, if I had a better setup, I'd try to do it myself. But as it stands right now, I'm kind of at the mercy of the old school. But
yeah,
I'm transitioning out. I'm looking at other options. Like I said, I love traditional publishing, but right now I kind of want to diversify, just see what
yeah,
other avenues I could sort of investigate.
yeah. I mean, I've not done traditional publishing. I just sort of bypassed traditional publishing and just went into self-publishing. But so I've had some success, but you need to be able to put your own money into it. That's what I feel, and that's the problem. You will only. I know some people who are self-published who are putting thousands in every month to get money back.
Yeah, I've known writers to do that too. And also, like I said, you have to, especially when you self-publish. I mean, you can pay someone to do certain things, but a lot
Yeah,
of the burden comes down on you,
yeah,
and that's got to be it's got to be hard. I self-published something a few years ago, actually a few things, but I didn't really aggressively market or anything like that. I just
yeah,
sort of put them up and said, okay, well, I'm fine with this. You know,
yeah.
to
That's
really
what.
that's self-publishing. You have to work hard.
Yeah, that's sort of what I've done so far. But I've just been saving up over the past 2 years to give it like a proper push on it. Especially with Halloween coming up this year, I'm going to push the ghost stories.
Yeah, I've been saving up a little bit of money too. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with it. I was thinking about creating a magazine, starting a magazine. Um,
Yeah,
I could use it tomorrow. I really don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I've definitely got something to save back that I'm going to put into the genre somehow, whether it's
yeah.
publishing my stuff, publishing other people's stuff.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, I think our time's about to run out. I think it only leaves us about 40 minutes. That's why I'm sort of hurrying it along. I think there's a limit to the time. I'm not
Yeah,
completely sure.
time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, it does. We've been going 41 minutes now. Apparently,
Nice talking to
it's
you.
been brilliant talking to you.
It was awesome. We should do it again sometime.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll get you on again. Hopefully, I want to start doing this with
Yeah,
some more
I'm down with
people.
it.
Yeah, it's really good to meet you. I
Hey,
will.
you too, man.
Okay, I'll speak to you later.
It's always nice to talk to someone who's a
Yeah,
fellow writer, fellow traveler, doing the
yeah,
same thing.
yeah. It's always great. Wish I got to travel more. I haven't been traveling for a long time now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been went to a few places, but so I'm kind of stuck here now. But yeah, life moves on. Yeah. Anyways, we'll speak soon.
all right. Take
Okay.
care.
Yeah, you too. So, if you managed to watch that call right through to the end, here's your medal. And it says on it, Irish Indoor Rowing Championships 2008. No, 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 that's my medal. Um, I hope you enjoyed the interview. I have got another one coming up with another author, which will be recorded this coming Thursday at 1 o'clock in the morning, my time. That author's name is Todd Sullivan, and he is currently in Taipei. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy my next interview coming up with Todd and the ones that are going to hopefully appear on this channel in the future. Please keep up the likes and the subscribes. Everything that we've discussed here, all the links to everything, my work and to Joseph's work, all the links are down here. And I will see you next time, if I haven't put you off for good.